we've been having our Aaron Rodgers conversation because he's pretty much got everybody waiting to find out what's what and where he decides to go. Rob G, couple of teams obviously waiting to see what he's going to do. Even have the owner of the Steelers having some thoughts on Aaron Rodgers, holding him hostage.
Yeah, so it was actually the a former GM, Doug Whaley, and he does some local radio every once in a while in San Diego on 97.3. And, of course, they had to ask him about
NFL hotbed.
Of course. So, but, naturally, when Aaron Rodgers' name is available, he's going to come up in conversation. So the very first question they asked him was about Aaron Rodgers and this, rumor that the Pittsburgh Steelers are having an open invitation. Aaron said, hey, if you want to come back and if you want to play football again, here's the number we're going to offer you. Come play for us. As far as we know, Aaron Rodgers is still not close to a decision. But here's what Whaley said about what's going on with Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers.
If I'm Omar Khan and I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, one, you shouldn't be surprised. And two, you have to sit down and really think about, do we want to sign up for this? Because he's setting the table and the precedent early. It's all about Aaron Rodgers, and it has nothing to do with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's going to hold the whole franchise hostage on waiting for him to make a decision. But that's par for the course when you deal with a guy like Aaron Rodgers. So you have to make sure you really want this not only in your locker room, but to be the face of your franchise. It's not going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers anymore. It's going to be Aaron Rodgers' Pittsburgh Steelers.
He was passionate about that. He had all the thoughts. So look, man, one thing I don't want to do, if I'm a franchise, I don't want to be left on red by Aaron Rodgers. I don't want to be left just, well, thank you, I heard you, but I'll get back to you. And there are reports that it could be a matter of a week. There's reports that it could be a matter of 4 weeks before the teams hear back from him. And if your organization, to me, you have mismanaged your quarterback situation. If you are this late in the game and you don't have a quarterback, and B, you're waiting around for Aaron Rodgers, who has one of the all-time greats, but at this point in time, I don't believe is a great option for your franchise trying to move forward. So I look at it as like when you watch those movies back in the 80s, all those John Hughes films, and it's like a prom date, right? You're waiting around. He's going to ask me. He's going to ask me. I know he's going to ask me. He's going to ask me. And you mess around, you're going to be going to prom by yourself or with your best friend and making like it's a Galentine's thing like you meant to do it when you really were waiting on that guy to ask you. And Aaron Rodgers holding these teams hostage is kind of crazy to me because I can't believe this is the guy that's holding them hostage at this place in his career. Not years ago, it makes all the sense in the world. Not even maybe 2-3 years ago with the Jets. Even then, it kind of made sense. You get why the Jets would do that. But at this current date, especially with the Steelers, it's like, all right, you're supposed to be the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you are being held hostage, don't know what you're doing. Your plan B, allegedly, and they called it a distant plan B, is Russell Wilson. What if he messes around and signs with the Giants? And now you're what are you going to do? If Aaron Rodgers decides to do something else or retire, or if Minnesota last minute comes in, now you're stuck. So I just believe they mismanaged their quarterback situations, relying on him, waiting on him, being left on red by Aaron Rodgers. And again, they're going to mess around and go to prom by themselves.
Yeah, I think it's the biggest non-story. He's a free agent. He's able to mull over offers by different teams and try to figure out what he wants to do. There's no timetable. The season doesn't start next week. I mean, this is free agency. He doesn't have to sign or pick a team right away. This is a period that he has a time to look it over, figure out what's the best fit for him. This is going to be his last stop. So this makes sense to me. And for all the people who say he's terrible and washed up, how is he holding a franchise hostage then if he's no good? There are at least two teams for sure, maybe three, who are interested. That's because there are no quarterbacks. I don't know what league you guys are looking at and keep acting like, there's just a plethora of quarterbacks out there and they can just pick people. There's nobody. There's nobody out there. And that's why he's going to have the attention of a couple of teams. And they hope, if they were so hell-bent on not waiting, they could have all rescinded their offers and said, thank you, but no thank you. Did anybody do that? No, because they don't have a quarterback. It's called free agency. What? They're mad because he's trying to make a decision? I've never even heard anything like this. He has to make a snap decision for who? The season starts in 6 months. For who? Is it training camp? Yeah, right after the draft in April. I don't. So it's not today. So if it's Monday, is that the end of the world? I'm serious.
Well, I mean,
held hostage? No. If you don't want the guy, tell him thank you, but no thanks. We're pulling back our offer. That's all the Steelers have to do. So they're obviously fine that Aaron Rodgers told them, let me think about it. Let me make my decision. I want to see what's the best fit for me. They obviously know what's going on and that he's going to make a decision. And that's why they're waiting. Otherwise, they would have just, hey, Russell Wilson, come back. Don't go to Cleveland. We'll just sign you. They could have done that. They don't want to do that.
And that is why I believe they mismanaged their quarterback situation. Now you're in a situation where you're banking on him when he could ultimately say, I retire. I'm going to the Giants. Hey, you know what, Minnesota, they actually just offered me something. I'm going to go up there. I'm going to teach this kid, JJ,
yeah, but they
whatever.
want to be they still want to be in the lottery. That's why they haven't pulled it. That it's not mismanaging. You have a chance to get a quarterback, and you think you have all the other stuff that goes with it. So he's got a chance. You have a chance. You have the running game. You have the defense. You got all these other things. You just got some dynamic wide receivers. Like you want to win a playoff game. You want to make another run, and there are quarterbacks out there. And if you watch him closely. And just stop with the record. If you watched him, because we talk about it all the time, he played better later on in the season. He did.
But that was the thing. When you watched him, he wasn't making the winning plays. He wasn't making the winning drives. And nobody say he sucks. Aaron Rodgers is still talented. Nobody says that. I'm saying if you're the Steelers, you're supposed to be in a position where you have your guy. You had your.
How? They haven't won a playoff game.
That's the point. You've been mismanaging. But that's what I'm saying, Rob. They've been mismanaging this for so long that now they're pleading and begging a 41 2B42 during the season year old to be their answer. And I'm saying you've mismanaged yourself where this is the position, one of the premier franchises.
So, okay, the Vikings have mismanaged too? Is that what they've done?
No, they have their guy.
They won 14 games, but they still aren't saying for sure that JJ's going to be
They're trying to get the cherry on top. Okay. They're just trying to have their cake and eat it too.
No,
we have our guy in JJ that we just sent Sam Darnold away for.
They could have
and we can maybe have a veteran backup, or they're
he's not
just going to
be the backup if he goes to Minnesota.
They're having.
He's not going anywhere to be anybody's backup.
Well, then they are just mulling around. They have too much, to play with.
You think he's going to be the backup to J.J. McCarthy?
Maybe he won't, but that's my point. They know they have their future.
The only way J.J. would play is if he got hurt. Aaron Rodgers got hurt. He's not going there to be a backup.
But they know they have their future.
You could sit there. Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years, and he's going to the Hall of Fame. You can sit. It ain't the end of the world if you don't play right away. And I'm sure that they can. But if we have a chance to get Aaron Rodgers for a year or two, and you can learn from this guy and see what he does, how he prepares, or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. That just makes no sense for me, Minnesota. Absolutely no sense. You literally had your guy who got to watch for a year because he couldn't play because he was injured, and you're never going to get the clock starting until it starts. So he's already had his year. He waited around. He watched. He watched a really good season.
Waited for 3 years too, and last year they gave him $200 million.
Yeah, no. I'm not opposed to waiting when it makes sense. Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre. Jordan Love sat behind Aaron Rodgers. Prime Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but they sat behind. They sat behind future Hall of Famers. It's not the end
That's
of the
what
world.
I'm saying. So I'm not. Who would he be sitting behind now? A 40-something-year-old Aaron Rodgers? Nah, I'm straight, bruh. We're going to start this thing off the J.J. McCarthy run. This is the era of J.J. McCarthy, so it makes zero sense for them to go there. You might toss it around if he takes it.
I totally disagree. I just, when you have a chance.
To what, Rob?
What do you mean to do what? They won 14 games last year with Sam Darnold. Aaron
Who
Rodgers
is better than Aaron Rodgers at this point? He
is.
He's not.
No,
he
he's not.
Absolutely is.
That's why they walked away from him. No, he's not.
No, he's better than Aaron Rodgers. I didn't say he was better than the top 10 quarterbacks.
He's not better than Aaron Rodgers. Sam Darnold, that's why they banished him to Seattle on a team with no offensive line and no receivers. They did that because
they have J.J. McCarthy.
No, that's not it.
Who's the guy they drafted
if they had
before him.
They wouldn't be interested in Aaron Rodgers. Come on, man. You're not even making sense.
What do you mean?
If you have J.J. McCarthy, why are you interested in Aaron Rodgers?
Do I need multiple quarterbacks on the team?
No, I'm asking you. He's
I'm
not
saying,
the backup quarterback. Would you stop saying that?
because
he's not going to
they
Minnesota
are
to be the
doing
backup.
their due diligence.
Come on,
They're
man.
tossing around. Hey, let's just talk to him.
That's
Let's just see
not-
what's
that's
going
not-
on there. They are doing
Aaron
their due
Rodgers
diligence.
going to go to Minnesota to be J.J. McCarthy's backup. Do you even hear yourself?
I'm saying the Vikings are doing their due diligence. We have our guy of the future. Flat out, that's not no dispute. Not a single person disputes that. We know that. And they're just kicking the tires to see what else is around, because for them, it's a win-win. We got our guy. JJ is the future, flat out. And that's what they're doing. So to me, it doesn't even make sense at this point, move forward in the JJ era. And the Steelers, again, put themselves in a situation where now they're relying and waiting on him, because God knows what they'll do if he decides to retire or if he decides to go to the Giants or something like that. The Steelers, what that? Does Russell Wilson want to be seconds? Oops, our bad, Russ. We were just playing with you, man. Can you come on back? Like, how does that work?
He doesn't have a job. I mean, what choice does he have? He doesn't have a job. If they said you're going to come back and be the starting quarterback, he's going to say no.
He might
without
wait.
a job?
I'm saying he might wait around to see what the Browns do, wait around to see what the Giants do. He might not want to go back to that situation. You ain't want me. You want to go get him.
As soon as somebody offers you the job, I'm telling you, at that age and this situation, you're going to take it. If they say we want you to be the starting quarterback next year, we looked around. We think you still are the best option.
Well, then
that we
tell
have.
Aaron Rodgers to take it.